Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear Iman TV viewers. Once again, we started our English programs, and this type of program that we are going to have with the scholars and people that they are involved in the community in many ways. Inshallah, in the name of God, Alhamdulillah, As-salatu as-salamu ila Rasulullah, Mohammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. In this way, I could convey my regards and warm greeting to you guys. And this part of the program, always we bring a guest. As you see next to me, A.Rashid Salim, which is actually a scholar, and actually is a student that working on his PhD in University of Berkeley, Islamic studies, and also Farsi literature. So, which is very unique major, alhamdulillah. And at this point, we're trying to just bring your attention. And I want to say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Rashid Jan Salim.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I'm very glad that you're here. Thank you so much for participating in this time of the night. And also, the situation is such a way that it's easy to find anybody, because I asked one of the scholars, I said, which time is good that we do a short interview? He said, you know what, days and nights all the same to me. Anytime you want me, I'm available.
Exactly.
So, that's a blessing in a way, if you look at it. Inshallah, you'll talk about that. So in this situation we are, it's pretty much everybody's talking about it, and we are seeing it through many different ways, media, news, and also social media. So pretty much everybody knows the situation is. But the reason we make this talk, actually, I made this conversation with you, what kind of advices, what kind of actually suggestions you have for our youth, mostly, that they are facing many difficulties and troubles and this calamity. What do you have to prescribe for them as a person that is studying Islam, inshallah?
Yeah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Well, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be here and to speak with you and the viewers as well. Without a doubt, these are difficult times and difficult days and trying times. The first and foremost thing for us to keep in mind is that there's no difficulty, there's no challenge, there's no tribulation that is everlasting. Each difficulty, each challenge, each hardship, each sorrow that comes into our lives is only temporary. And as the Quran mentions, which is really one of the most beloved verses of the Quran for many, and especially for myself, it's one of my favorite verses in the Quran, is in Surah Al-Inshirah, which says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Inna ma'al usri yusra. Verily with difficulty, or truly with difficulty, there is ease. It's not after. Ease doesn't come after difficulty, but it's really in that moment. So what that conveys to us is that within the difficulties, within the tests, within the tribulations, within the hardships, there is a zone, there is a sphere, there is a place and an opportunity for us to discover something, to develop something, to achieve something. If we have that type of mindset, a mindset that looks at difficulties and challenges not as defeat, but as opportunities, as moments of reflection, as moments of seeing things new, appreciating things, maybe things that we took for granted, then we've succeeded. And then this is coupled with a very strong and a very intense inclination towards optimism. Yeah, optimism and hopefulness and hope in itself are so central to our religious tradition that losing hope or hopelessness is actually considered one of the greatest sins in Islam. Mm-hmm. So for someone to lose hope in God's mercy, it actually counts as one of the kaba'ir, or one of the greater sins. And we have great sins like infidelity, for example, or we have like murder, robbery, these types of things. So imagine how grave it is for someone to lose hope in the mercy of Allah, which is really important. So with those two things kept in mind, the best way to approach it is day by day, right? Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't become disheartened or discouraged. Just take it day by day. The fact that you're awake in the morning, alhamdulillah, it means that you have a house. It means that you have a roof over your head. You have a bed. You have food in the fridge. Many of you, especially young professionals, they're able to work remote, so you have a job. And our movements may be limited. There is social isolation, but it's more physical. It doesn't mean that we take out our frustrations on people inside the house, on our family. It doesn't mean that we don't check up on one another. And it doesn't mean that we have spiritual isolation as well, right? Spirituality in these moments where we're actually disconnected from many things that could be distractions for us is actually something to pay attention to and to take in mind. So oftentimes we may spend our time in idle activities or in things that really bring us no benefit, but taking this time that we have in quarantine and in isolation to reflect, to write, to learn something new, to read, to pray, right? To spend time with your elders, learn how to cook, learn a language, learn to, draw, whatever it may be. There's so many things that you can do, especially with technology, that it'd be a shame to, take it for granted, because these types of days will not come. And there will be a time where you'll look back on it and be like, wow, that was, I had so much free time, or I had so much opportunity and I lost it. Or
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And as you said, there's some pros and cons in this one, and we have to look at it both. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's good for us and what's not good for us. And based on that, our youth, basically, probably they haven't faced this kind of situation. And we have seen things in our time, actually, like moreka, like many other diseases like sorrows and stuff. But most of the youth, they haven't seen it. It's a new experience for them.
sure.
And they are panicking, and they don't know what happened. The question, they have a lot of people, they cannot answer their question the way they're supposed to. So like you said, and these are the things they should do that. As far as losing uh, the routine that they have, like they're going to school and they're seeing their friends and other activities, and a lot of people involved in sports. And look at
Right.
it, all the 24 hours, watching games and this and that, everything changes, and there's no amusement, there's no entertainment, So what is this? I mean, how are we going to just evaluate this situation? What do you have to say about all this? They're going to adjust themselves to this situation.
Sure. Yeah, I think the adjustments are definitely there, and it's different, and it's challenging. Especially, I think the biggest challenge of isolation is the limitations of movement. Right? We are only supposed to go out for essential things, like going to the grocery, or if we're someone who has an essential job, maybe working at the hospital or something like that. Besides that, you have to be at home, or maybe small walks to the park while maintaining 6 feet distance, of course. It's important to understand that the human being consists and is made up of a soul and a body, right?
Yeah.
We're not just a soul, and we're not just a body. We're not just materially inclined human beings, and we're not just emotionally sort of balls of being or matter. It's a combination of these two things. So it's important for us to be mindful of both of them. If someone only maintains a routine that nourishes their body without any nourishment or any focus and attention on the soul, then these types of challenges and these types of occurrences are going to break them. At the same time, if we have someone who only, for example, says they do their prayer or they fast, but they don't take care of their body, they don't, for example, rest, they don't eat well, then that's also going to have an effect on it. So we have a complete system of how to both take care of the body and at the same time to nourish and to refine and to take care of the soul. So for us, it's very easy, and it's in our nature as human beings to adjust and to adapt. So yes, we can't do certain things like we used to, but we still have a lot of opportunities to do other things. So if we're, for example, getting bored, or we're getting tired, or we're getting restless, do simple things like, for example, watch a movie, right? For example, read a book, look at some pictures, spend time with your family, spend time with your loved ones, play a board game, learn how to cook. These are good things that we can employ, and other sources of entertainment, halal entertainment as well. But just don't spend all of your time on social media and on Instagram and Snapchat or TikTok or whatever it may be, because these types of days and these types of moments to really connect with our elders and with our family, and really spend some time, I would say, in reflection. Start journaling, maybe writing down and saying, today I'm feeling this. These are the goals that I have. These are things that I'm learning about myself. These are things that I'm learning about the world, because we realize throughout all how delicate and how gentle life is. The very smallest, microbic kind of virus can destroy us, something that we don't even see. So it should humble the human being. It should awaken the human being that life is really something that's fleeting. It's something that is very delicate. And when you humble yourself, you really grow as an individual. The poet says that the branch that bears the most fruit, right, is the lowest branch. It humbles itself, it lowers itself down. And same thing with individuals who have knowledge, who have beauty, who have akhlaq, who have wisdom, who have character. They're very humble. And we live in a world where humbleness is really ignored and humbleness is really considered unimportant. But from within our spiritual traditions and the traditional culture that we have, humbleness is very important. It's a hallmark, and it's a sign of understanding and of achievement. And someone who lacks humbleness, whether they may be a religious scholar, or they may be a rich person, or they may be a teacher or an elder or a youngster, whomever it may be, anyone who lacks humbleness is really flawed, and it's problematic.
Exactly. Uh, this is a big discussion. We can talk about many things. The one thing, like you said, just got my attention, that the nature is relaxed. I mean, somebody said that the pollution level, the greenhouse effect, and some scientists say it's a lot lower than used to because of the pollution.
Right.
And also, they see that in some places the water was so clear, they seen the fishes so obviously on the surface that before didn't. So the whole globe, I think, is in a relaxation mode.
Right.
And that teaches something, that we have to listen to our own body and soul, like you say. And we have to relax also, learn how to relax. Because one thing I noticed, better, that a lot of people, they don't know how to relax,
Yeah.
how to love themselves. And people get in the wrong way. There's nothing wrong that you love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, you're lying. You're not loving anybody else.
Right.
So these are the stuff that I think is important to initiate, just I added on top of what you said. And also one thing, as a person that you actually, most of your life, actually, you born in Afghanistan, right?
Yes.
But when you were very young when you came here, right?
Right, exactly.
When I talked to you in Farsi, I thought that you born in Afghanistan. You recently came as far as Farsi. But when I talk in English, like you said, you're born here. So, Alhamdulillah. And the reason I was mentioning that, what do you say about organization? Organization, not in, I would say that to go, just fix your library or your bedroom and stuff like that. As far as your mind, to organize it, it's something crossed my mind. Can you add something on that from your?
Yeah, one of my favorite scholars, Ustad Fatimi Nia, who's really a beautiful example of Islamic ethics and learning. He had a very important point that he brought up. He said, when you organize your life and you organize your time, when you actually schedule things, you see that your time becomes more productive. When we don't have organization, whether it's in our personal life, whether it's in our physical life, with our health, whether it's our finances, whatever it may be, or our spiritual life, then we see that we are in disarray, we are confused, we are kind of disheveled and all over the place. But when we have organization, it's very simple. So, for example, something that works well for me is You write down, you say for 1 hour, for an hour and a half, I'm going to do this task. I'm going to do this, right? And just focus on that. If you find that you're distracted by your phone because of notifications or social media, whatever it may be, put your phone away, turn off your phone so that you can focus on it. After that hour and a half, whatever it may be, then go take a 10-minute break, do something. If you want to go drink a cup of tea, you want to stretch, you want to, for example, make a phone call or send a text, whatever it may be, but have some type of organization. And this organization is very important, because this organization allows you to actually succeed and make the most of your life, right? Time is something that is not going to return. Time is something that you can't buy. A lot of people spend their time and their lives chasing money and trying to get money. By the time they actually achieve that net worth or that bank account number that they've been after, they realize that life has passed them by, or khada na khasta, God forbid they get a sickness, and you can't give any amount of money to get your health back. So it's important for us to have balance. It's important for us to have organization, to set time aside for your family, set time aside for your health, set time aside for your body, set time aside for your spirit. One of the members of the household of the Prophet, alayhi salatu wassalam, says that, divide your time in 4 parts. So one of the grandsons, the great grandsons of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, someone by the name of Imam Rida alayhi salam, says that divide your day in 4 parts. One part of your day should be to earn a halal income, right? And earlier we mentioned in the Farsi portion that pursuing a halal income and employment and seeking knowledge and learning is considered worship in Islam, which is a phenomenal thing to understand, is that you're actually going and doing something worldly, but from the Islamic perspective, you're actually doing something spiritual. So these 2 parts are very much combined and welded together. So spend one part of your day, on your job or your work, but not all of your day, of course. Spend one time of your day in najwa with God. Najwa is very much different than just prayer. Najwa is intimate discourse, close conversation. That's najwa, right? Speaking from the heart with God. Spend one part of your day doing that. Spend one part of your day pursuing a hobby, something that relaxes you. Maybe you like nature, go for a walk, go for a hike, right? Maybe, I don't know, you like exercising, you can do some exercises at home. Maybe you like cinema, watch a movie at home or something like that. Or you like literature, read a book, whatever it may be. And then one part of your day, spend it in rest. Your body needs sleep. Without sleep, a lot of people, myself included, oftentimes we find ourselves staying up way past our bedtimes, right? So a lot of people are not getting sufficient sleep, or they're staying up too late. And what that happens is that has a long-term negative effect on your psyche. It has a long-term negative effect on your health. So it's important for us to get sufficient sleep and sufficient rest. So those 4 parts of the day are very important. One part for your income and pursuit of knowledge or whatever it may be. One part in spiritual discourse with God and conversation with God and sincere worship. One part in pursuing of hobbies, and then one part for rest, inshallah. So if we have that type of organization, especially when we're in isolation and quarantine, I think inshallah we can have a more productive day. Yeah.
And you have to be consistent on that, because that's one thing you have to just teach yourself how to be consistent.
Right.
So, alhamdulillah, I mean, these are all good tips, and I know that you spent some time here with another program before this, so I don't want to make you more tired in this, and inshallah we'll continue this kind of discussion if you don't mind, because our youth has to hear from you, especially you have both aspects of Farsi and English. And this way, you see the balance, how the balance is going to take place. Sure. So may Allah bless you, Ahmad, Rashid, John, and Salim. And thank you so much for your time. May Allah accept our prayers, whatever we do in these days and nights. And may Allah pass all these trouble days and challenging days for everybody. And I'm sure, like you said, the ease is coming. And we will see good days ahead, inshallah, again. But we have to remember that this fluctuation is applying everything. Like sometimes stock goes down, goes up and goes down. At the same time, our spiritual, our Iman goes up and down. and
Right.
our lives. Sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down, right? Guy
Right.
pushed bazin, guy zinba pushed, you know.
Right. Right.
So inshallah will all pass. And by saying this, inshallah we end this. I want to hear your last message for youth. If you can briefly say something for them, and we can leave it.
Sure. Thank you. I know that these are trying and difficult times, but I think that each one of us has the potential and has the capacity and has the power within us to overcome these difficult days. I think, as the Quran mentions, with difficulty, there is ease. It's very important for us to maintain hope and maintain positivity. You know that you'll get through it. These days are going to end sooner or later, but that you make the most of this time. And I hope and I pray that you and your family and your loved ones are safe. Please practice social distancing and take the advice of medical professionals seriously. Please try to contribute in assisting others, those who are needy, whether it's financial. There are programs where people are sewing face masks and sending those to hospitals. There's a lot of khair, there's a lot of good deeds that an individual can accomplish from the comfort of their own home. So please always look out and be sources of khair for one another. And definitely don't lose hope in this beautiful religion and in your worth and in your spiritual standard. And Mohammadi, thank you so much for your time and all your efforts. And I pray that inshallah you and all the viewers inshallah are in the best of health and Iman.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. It was my pleasure having you with me. You have a great night, and give my regards to your family. I pray the same thing for you and your family. Inshallah, we'll bother you again very soon.
Your service.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you so much.